Here's a mental trap or a cognitive illusion that people fall into. And it makes people feel like they're stuck in the same spot, circling around, making zero progress, even though they're actually making tons of progress. And I call this trap same feeling, different problem. Let me give you an example. When I was in college, I struggled a lot with productivity. I would frequently look at my to do list, think, I can't do this, feel totally overwhelmed, and then frantically procrastinate, which only made the problem even worse, of course. And I now realize that my brain wasn't saying, I can't do this just randomly. My brain was running a super fast automatic calculation in order to come to that conclusion. And I now realize that my brain had a bunch of faulty math going into that calculation, which is why it kept coming to that conclusion. That faulty math included three things. First, I set the bar too high for what the final product had to look like. Second, I didn't make the first step small enough to make it feel doable to get started. And third, I didn't make realistic estimates of how long things would take to get done. And so the calculation that my brain would run every time it looked at my to-do list sounded something like this. It would say, this paper has to be the most brilliant thing I've ever written, plus the first step to write this paper is to read every book we were assigned in this class, plus everything needs to get done tonight. And given that math, of course, my brain would output the conclusion, I can't do this, I feel super overwhelmed. And in the many years since college, I have made significant updates to the math that my brain uses in its to-do list calculations. I'm good at setting a reasonable bar for success. I say things like, this just needs to be good enough to ship, not perfect. I'm good at making the first step very small and doable. Usually my first step is something like, open the document. And I make very realistic assessments of how long things will take to get done. I usually say things like, I think this is going to take 2 hours to write, so I'm going to give myself 3 hours just in case. And yet, I will still sometimes feel overwhelmed by my to-do list and think, I can't do this. Now, here's the mental trick that's happening. I'm having the exact same emotional experience I had in college. I feel like I've snapped back to 2009 and have made zero progress since then. And at the very same time, the reason that my brain is coming to this I can't do this conclusion is totally different. I've actually made a lot of progress since 2009. Because now, when my brain outputs the assessment, I can't do this, it's not because I've set the bar too high for what the final product has to look like. It's not because I didn't make the first step small enough to make it feel doable to get started. And it's not because I didn't make realistic estimates for how long things will take to get done. I have long since updated all that math in my head. And now, if my brain thinks I can't do this, it's usually because I'm missing some crucial information that I need to get started. And so I need to go find that information. Or it's because external factors have moved my schedule around. And so I need to update my plan for the day. This is a completely different set of reasons for my brain to tell me I can't do this and then feel overwhelmed. This is not me snapping back to my college days at all. I've actually made a ton of progress since that time. I'm no longer making those old mistakes. But it's very, very easy to feel like I haven't made any progress because the emotional experience of having my brain tell me I can't do this and get really overwhelmed is exactly the same as it was 15 years ago, even when the underlying reasons that that's happening are completely different. So where are you feeling like you haven't made any progress when you actually have made progress and it's just being blocked by this cognitive illusion, same feeling, different problem? Maybe you used to cancel plans last minute all the time, just because you didn't feel like going. And now you're actually really good about keeping your plans unless you're genuinely sick. But you feel the same sense of guilt when you cancel a plan when you're not feeling well. And because the emotional experience is the same, you think you're repeating the same patterns and stuck in the same spot. When actually, you're not at all. You've made lots of progress and are a meaningfully different person now. Or maybe you used to stay too long in bad fit relationships, hoping that the other person would change. And now you actually move on pretty quickly when you feel like it's not working. But you feel the same sense of disappointment when you realize that a relationship isn't right for you. And because the emotional experience is the same, you think that you're repeating the same patterns and that you're stuck in the same spot. When actually, you're not at all. You've made lots of progress and are a meaningfully different person now. Or maybe when you were pretty new at your job, you would miss things or not know things, and people with more experience would be able to point it out to you pretty quickly. And now you've gained a lot of experience. And when you miss something or you don't know something, people with more experience didn't see it coming either. But you feel the same sense of panic and imposter syndrome when you run into something that you didn't know. And because the emotional experience is the same, you think you're repeating the same patterns and you're stuck in the same spot. You think you're still the hapless newbie that's about to be found out, when actually you're not at all. You've made lots of progress and you're a meaningfully different person now. These are the simple tenets that we use again and again to create less stress and more flow in your life. 1, the world is not stressing you out. Your brain's assessment of the world is stressing you out. 2, your brain moves very, very fast in constructing its stressful assessments of the world. 3, coaching helps you slow your brain down and see the logical steps your brain took to construct its stressful assessment. 4, coaching then helps you adjust your brain's logic so that it stops creating so many stressful assessments. 5, when your brain is less stressed and when it comes out of fight or flight and it disarms its protective mechanisms, what's left over is flow, aka your true self. And 6, once you're in flow, once you've found your way back to your true self again, you can figure out whatever is in front of you like a piece of cake. And here's the best part. You don't have to spend years getting a PhD or achieving spiritual enlightenment to do all of this. You can learn how to do this while you're working your day job and taking care of your family and doing all the things you do today. I've developed a simple 5-step process that you can use to coach yourself out of stress and back into flow again and again on a repeatable basis. Call this process snack, because when you're stressed, what's better than a snack? And in my course and coaching program, I will teach you this process step by step. And then I'll be available for 3 months of hands-on coaching and implementation support until you know this process in your bones. This is a crucial life toolkit that we should all have been taught in grade school. And I don't want you to go even one more day without it. So go to the link above and join the program waitlist.